Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. I'm your host, as always, Elliot Barr, and are joining me are two men that will probably buy Simon Fitch a good meal and a good beer if he drinks. I'm assuming he does. For what he did to keep our playoff chances alive. It's Matt and Shanair. How are you good doing, guys?
Doing good. Enjoyed the Kickers and also some other teams this weekend. Going with the tried and true approach that got me through high school, got me through college, got me through grad school of wait until the absolute damn last minute to actually do anything and then get the job done.
Yeah, the true procrastination. Like, you know what? I'll just wait till 12 o'clock to start writing this paper.
Maximization of time is how we prefer to call it.
Yeah, that's the true thing. That's the true thing. Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I went through a very varying swing of emotions through this game. Like the first goal went in for Tormenta, I was like, okay, like all right, it's cool. Then the second one went in, and I was like, all right, this sucks. So I turned the game off because I was like, all right, I don't need no negativity in my life. It's homecoming weekend. I'm gonna enjoy myself. And then I get an alert on my phone. It was like, Emiliano Terzaghi scored, and I was like, okay, like we're scrapping back. And then I look at my phone again, and I'm watching it, and it's like 90 plus 2. And there was like a free kick that Dale missed going right left, and I was like, all right, that's giving me a chance. And then Neil gets the ball, and he crosses it in, and here's Simon Fitch swinging in like Batman out of nowhere. It gets his beautiful, light-skinned, pale head onto it and curves a header into the bottom corner. And I, on Virginia State campus, yelled out, "That's my motherfucking bitch." And everyone looked at me and was like, "What?" I was like, just let me have this moment right now. And that's how I lost my voice on Friday night.
Wait, so when did you turn it back on?
I turned it back on like at the 89th minute.
Okay.
That's when I turned it back on. So I'm like standing in front of Foster Hall like this with my phone like this, and people are coming up to me trying to talk to me. I'm like, move, move, move.
All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me it was similar. Sitting in my living room, watching the game. After the first goal went in, I was like, and it. I mean, the commentator didn't make it any easier, talking about how kickers have never come back. If they conceded first, have never won a game if they conceded first.
Yeah, I think the stat was like 0-9-2 or something like that. I was like, dude, I don't even know.
0-9-2, something like that. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And literally a minute later, after he said that, they scored the second one, and I was like, I'm so done. I'm so done right now.
You know stats he didn't have ready? When was the last time Kickers lost in that stadium? 0 for never.
That is.
When was the last time they even lost down at Tormenta? Very first time with that shady PK calling Yvonne. Ever since then, at worst we got to draw. Usually whip that ass down there. So, come correct on your stats.
Yeah.
And talking about stats, like we were just looking at it, and us, we always think like we got it worse. We're going through the worst moment. Self-reflecting. Well, it can be worse if you're a Tormenta fan. They have not. We were just looking at it. They haven't won a game since April 21st. I mean, yeah, they've only won 2 games since April 21st. And their last game one came July 13th. Since then, they've either lost or drawn every game, which is wild.
So what you're telling me is the last time they won a game, I was still in Richmond.
Yes. They're pulling
That's
us from
crazy.
last year. Like that's what they're on right now. They're
Yeah.
pulling us from last year.
Yeah, I don't want to remember that. I really don't want to remember that.
No, I don't either. Which was not fun. It was not fun at all.
On because out.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot to probably talk about in this game, but we'll start off with the lineup that Darren had pulled out for this game. Of course, this game was on Friday night. So here was the lineup. You had Chandler Dwyer striker, Sarakowski on the wing, Zhao and Zaka and Dak in the midfield. Arthur Boshua out on the right wing, Maxi, Celia, Griffin Arnett, Simon Fitch, and James Sneddon. So once again, Matt, if it's not broken, don't change it. Kind of wrote out the same lineup again. And I did see your tweet about this, which actually is one of the talking points I think we're going to have, is about when you go with such a defensive lineup, you lose a lot of the attacking thrust that you have, but that seems to be working for the Kickers. But when you go down early, it's very hard to get clear-cut opportunities because your team is so defensive.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that team that you're talking about. It's been effective recently, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to make arguments against that, but it's a stylistic choice. And we talked about the last couple of weeks how this where this team is right now, being kind of the big uglies and getting clawing through the results, the 3 yard cloud of dust, sort of American football style, offense. Not pretty, but it gets you across the line, right? Problem is soccer doesn't work quite like that all the time, and there's 11 guys that you mentioned. I think you can classify Joao as somebody who has some creative spark to him, right?
Yeah.
I think most people would agree
Yeah.
with that. Who would you say is your second most creative guy out of that group?
Chandler? Maybe?
I would have gone Maxi.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I would think Max.
I mean, the fact, though, that it's not, just A, an easy answer or B, an obvious answer, kind of tells, the story, with this of, it's a team that's been rock solid in the defense, but maybe at some of the sacrifice of, flair, like Sirakowski and Boshua, them kind of Chandler, they're the big boys up front. They're the battering ram, up front. They're not going to be the flair guys. They're not going to be the magical creators out of everything. They'll brute force you. They'll get you your corner kicks, your free kicks, where then we can throw all the trees up there and see what happens. That didn't work on a couple levels in this game, but if a team can be able to sit in against that kind of a lineup, it's a lot more challenging because who's going to unlock the defense there? You can double up Zhao, and then what happens?
What did Tormenta do in this game that made it so difficult for the Kickers to be pulled on the side? Because it felt like a lot of the times, like when I was watching the game up to the second goal, it felt like a lot of times like Tormenta was just playing like a super high line, and they were just like they were challenging the Kickers. Like, all right, if you're gonna play it through us, you're gonna have to play it through multiple waves of our attack in the midfield. You're not just gonna easily get through us. And it seemed like the Kickers were kind of having troubles with that. It didn't seem like they were getting the easy chances that they normally would have that we've seen out of them in this win streak.
I don't know how many easy chances they've had in the win streak. It's been kind of pressed mistakes and some individual runs of brilliance. Yeah. I don't think we've had a lot of build recently.
Well, I'm saying like the build-up play. Well, also we haven't had the build-up play like that because it's kind of been like all right, we're going to give you the ball and force it a mistake. In this game, kind of Tormenta flipped that on the head. And it seemed like the kickers, it took them a while to maybe adjust to that. The way how I was watching it, seemed to take them a while to kind of adjust to it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, a little bit like
I
I got you here.
think to a certain extent, what one thing really shut us down was we did not have any outlet. We didn't have an outlet of the front three because they outbigged our front three with their back line, and especially when you look at players like Dangler and Kilwain, they're big boys. They're really big boys, as we could see with the first goal, which we'll get to. Um, there is that, and also if we did manage to make it past their front press, they were sitting in a solid low block with their two center backs and then Walker and Steedman in the midfield. They were just forcing us to push the ball out to the wings where their fullbacks and wingers were sharp and very defensive. All in all, they played a very defensive game and literally just caught us on corner kicks. They pressed us high, forced a lot of mistakes. They had several corner kicks before they even scored the first one. So it was just one of those games where they were just literally shoving us around the field, and to a certain extent, that can only last for one half. And I think the gas started to run out in the second half, and is why we were able to get those chances and actually get ourselves a little more of a foothold in the game.
Yeah, and overall, like, remember what our discussion was last week of the first half?
yeah.
Yeah, boring nothingness. Take out those two corner kicks, unfortunately, it's kind of the same thing. Like, not much else happened either way, I didn't think.
No, not honestly. Yeah, not much had happened. And I mean, like, if you wanna take some positives away from this game, I mean, there are positives to take, but if you want to really take one, without Tormenta didn't score a goal like breaking us down. You know, they had to come off of set pieces where their guys had to make a big individual play to score on it. Even more so, like if you go look at the first goal, like Jake Dillinger from Tormenta, like he gets away from his marker and gets a free header in the center of the box. You know, and I think I think it was this one that was the tough save for James Setter. Like I don't think he got close to making a save on this one. I think the second one he got closer to saving, if I remember correctly.
I don't know how close he was to either of them necessarily, but for me, okay, you might get beat on a corner every now and then, right?
Yeah.
It'll happen. We can't be too picky about that, given how much good fortune we've had on those throughout the year. Getting beaten on twice in 3 minutes on them, that's a little infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a combination of things. Like James has been really good. And I don't think there's necessarily anything like Pablo or anyone else would have been able to do any different. But it's those moments where I just wonder, like, if we had like a 6'3", 6'4" keeper, especially on the first one, they've been able to maybe go get it.
Yeah. Like come on that line and just grab it. Yeah, maybe
or punch it or something. Yeah.
I don't know because when I look at that first goal, first of all, Dangler is a giant, and you could see it. He's a giant who could jump, which makes it even worse. Like where he connected with the ball with his head, he was above the post, like above the crossbar. Like he got up there and literally just Thor hammer headed it down into the goal. So I don't know. From that range, that's one of those corner kicks. You put a big man, big strong guy who can get up there and really put his head on it. It's not much you can do from that range. The second
you're probably
one
right.
is the one that I was more. Yeah, the second one is the one I was more, you know, something maybe could have been done about it. The second goal by
Yeah.
the left back on Vardy.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed like the second one. Yeah, I think it's more frustrating. It's okay to be more frustrated with that one because it just felt like he just got left wide open. It just
Yeah,
felt like he was just there, and no one was like, "Oh, he's open." Damn it! You know, it felt
yeah,
like
because
that for the
I don't
first game.
remember who was marking Dangler on the first one. I think it was Chella, but
Yeah, I think
it's like
Cello. I think Cello got
who's
picked
gonna
off. Yeah, I think he got picked off.
yeah,
So
but even if he was able to stay with him, who's gonna get up there with him? You know, to big strong guy like that who can get that much up, that much air under his feet. eh, Good luck.
yeah, and I mean the kickers were. I mean, granted, they got called offside, but the kickers were lucky not to go down a half, down 3 goals to nothing because there was an offside early on. You know that. I mean, 2-0. Yeah, it sucks. You can work your way back from that. 3-0. Like we're like, all right. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I started playing the math game in my head. Like, okay, all right, this game's done and dusted. Like, what's next? Like,
Yep, me
what?
too.
Like, all right, we need to beat Chattanooga. We need to beat Charlotte. Like now it's like 6 points is like what we need, and I need Tormenta to lose game. But luckily, that's why I'm not a player because I mean these guys they fought and Darren made the right subs. He took Arthur Boschua off. He took Jao Gomera off. I do feel bad for Jao. Like he's been in a good run of form, but I do get it. Like if you need, you need attackers to come on. And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you really see anything from Arthur in that first half that just made you
Oh no, I
feel
had no problem with that one, with Emmy coming on. For him,
yeah,
I didn't. I mean, obviously, it worked well enough in the end. So this is certainly uh, speculative at best, but I didn't love taking Joao off for Neil. I, at that point, you're down to 2-0. My mindset was we got to chase the goals, and knowing these guys really need to chase for it. Like I figured you would sacrifice Zaka, or uh, Dakota, somebody off the back line, move Dakota back a little bit, just to be able to get an extra attacking brain on the field, you know,
yeah,
because realistically, with the way the standings end up working out, like goal difference is unlikely to be the tiebreaker. That'll be the one that matters. So chase it. If you lose 3-0 or 4-0, I would have rather done that in my mind than try just different versions of the same thing. But different versions of the same thing end up working out in the end. So uh, that's why I'm talking here instead.
yeah, yeah. That's why we're doing this podcast because we get to try to second guess Darren, I guess. I mean, bringing on Emilio and Neil really helps. That is an interesting point though because like I do agree with you. Like I think like you want to change the game, you want to be attacking people you want on. I thought Zaka was going to be the one to come off just because like okay, you got Dak back there. Dak seems to be the CDM. I don't really know where Zaka fits in all that, but it seemed to have worked out. 64th minute, I believe it is. Yeah, 64th minute. Um, God, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it? Yeah, Simon that has the assist, right? I got Simon and Kirkland confused for a second. I had to make sure it was Simon. Simon crosses the ball in. I don't. I'm still trying to understand how did Emmy make this touch and go because
Oh,
it seemed like the
I
ball was
mean,
behind them.
that was so it was. It was.
Yeah,
The
like
ball was
it's fine.
behind him, and he just gets that touch to bring that ball into his body, and he literally just pivots around the ball to get the volley. But
Yeah,
even before then, I I felt like there was a lot of deja vu with Josh because I remember the last time he got subbed into a game, he did the same thing with that driving run forward all the way from our end of the field, driving the ball all the way down, forcing almost the entire Tormenta team to be facing their own goal, hustling to get back, just because of how aggressively he just drove forward with the ball, and that kind of created the chaos and the panic in the box that allowed for when the ball gets pinged back out and then pinged back into the wing, and now Simon Fitch is able to get that cross in. Emmy was pretty unmarked, and I must attest that to Kirkland. Um, he may not have had an assist, he may not have scored a goal, but his aggressive drive forward, and he's a decent sized guy. He's not small, and he can move pretty fast with the ball at his feet, and that is a danger that is you can't really deny. So I just wanted to make sure to give him his props on that one. But I mean that turn and strike. Granted, Parker should have saved that, but still, I'm really glad he didn't. It was a good shot. It was a pretty good shot, and especially with the ability to get that first touch out of the air into your body to pivot around the ball and get that strike. Well done.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how that ball actually went in, right? Because you watch it and it looks like Parker just kind of vacuums it up, and then next thing you know, it's in the net. Like I didn't know if it was saved and like bounced off the back of a Tormenta defender's legs and found its way in at first. It must have just like somehow slid underneath them and squeezed through because he hit it
No,
so hard. But
my thought is, I think what happened was Emmy hit it. He went to go squeeze it. Like you can see he catches it. But as he goes to go squeeze it, I think like he squeezes like the top of it, and he's going to ground, and he just squeezes it so tight that it just pops up and like trickles in right behind him. And as he rolling around the ground, failing for it, he inadvertently docks it in the back of the goal. But I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those situations where, it's one of those situations where he expected, and I even expected Emmy to aim for further wide, closer to the post. And so I think he kind of overextends, so the ball is kind of under him rather than where his hand is supposed to be. So when he does get kind of his hands on the ball, it's a little too close to his body, and now it just ricochets off the bottom of his body off the ground and into the goal. So he overstretched it with his dive and ended up letting it roll under him. I would say that most pundits would say he should have done better with that, but I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't.
And I mean, of course, we're talking about the fantastic goal, the reason why this podcast name gets its name from. But like, how impressed with you guys were with the kickers fight back in this game? Because like I was, watching the highlights and stuff like that, watching it, like you can see this team created the chances. Granted they weren't finishing them, but they were putting the goalkeeper for Tormenta under pressure. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've well established myself as maybe not the harbinger of optimism all the time. And I was watching this game and like around 80th minute, I was like, I think we're actually going to score again. And usually that is not the mindset I carry into watching these games. I wish it was more optimistic usually, but it's not how I'm hardwired. But this time, I was bought in. I actually believed, and I think that is a credit to how they've been playing for the last month, even 6 weeks, or so of having that drive, having that fight, and it's kind of that earned credibility, right?
Yeah.
Like in the last year, something bad happened. Nobody had any belief in these guys, including the guys, right? Because all the credibility was shot. Now it's built back up, and bought in, and they delivered.
Yeah, I think that's a key point right there, Matt, that you bring up, because it's like, even in the beginning of the season, you could kind of feel like, all right, we go down a goal, or, we said on this podcast, we go down 2 goals, like you could kind of call it what it is. We might get a goal, make the storyline look pretty, but us coming back was pretty tough. And I think since this team's been on this little bit of a run, it's been imperative. Like, they're building the confidence to get back into themselves, even so much so where it's like, I mean, the guys probably in the locker room, I haven't talked to them in a while, but I'm pretty sure they're aware of it. It was like, yeah, we're giving ourselves a chance to get into the playoffs, and we got to do everything we can to make sure that we keep that chance. And granted, results around them have been going the way in which we needed them to, and hope that they continue to go that way. But with all that being said, like confidence is like 60% of this thing of being a professional athlete. If you got the right confidence, you can probably be anybody on their day. Right now, it's showing. So, yeah, well, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the big goal that happened. I think at the 95th minute of stoppage time,
A little earlier.
Huh?
I think it was a little earlier than that, but it's not the point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe so.
it's
Maybe
officially
so.
94,
Um,
which is great because I mean we were given 5 minutes.
yeah. Simon Fitch cuts in like maybe from 25, almost 30 yards out, crosses a ball in, and you can see him like lining it up. Like he's like, I gotta put this like in a perfect way. He did. I give all the credit in the world to Simon Fitch for making that run and just risking his body at that point just to go win that ball.
I mean, it wasn't that much risk. Nobody followed him.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, like, just to even like,
Well,
I'm just thinking like, not that many people are gonna think like, I'm just gonna just dive towards the crowd to go win this header, and he did. I'm just more impressed that like that header was able to like curve in to the bottom left corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound bad. I think for a professional soccer player, that's not that tough a header, to be able to finish because nice floated cross, right there, especially for a defender who's used to using his head and making clearances with it. Diving header, from 5 yards out, you can kind of control that, a little bit. So I mean, again, it sounds rough, like, oh, it's not that impressive or anything. I think, yeah, making the run is the impressive piece. I think making the decision to go, with his head instead of, just trying to volley it, because we've seen the last few games, like, Simon getting, uh, you know, about a chance a game in the box, and last game, he was, talking about how I really needed to be able to finish that shot when he tried to go high near post, Landon Donovan 2010 style, and you just put it over. So he made a good decision for himself, a good decision for the team of laying out, for this one and being able to kind of really cushion the header into the corner.
Yeah, no, for real, like, and see, this is why Kate needed to be on the show. The celebrations afterwards. Oh my god, man! There's like so many memes out of that you could pull out. Like, it's funny because if you go back and just watch the celebration itself, you get pinpoint everyone's like singular like reaction to it, and when they realize the goal went in, because it's like Zaka realized it first, and Zaka's like running like it's gonna sound messed up. But he's running like a little dog through the fields, and like he don't know what to do with the top part of his body, so he's just running like this. And then like you have Chella, who is like super cool, but he sees the goal go in. And he's like frantic, so he's running like this. It is just so funny to watch like, everyone's reaction to it, how it happened. I kind of wish like goals like that. Like I wish we had a camera put on Darren so we can see his reactions. Because I always forget to see like how does Darren react to goals like this, and I wish we could have seen that.
Yeah, no, that it's just one of those situations where you just don't know what to do. Like
No.
you're just, it's just not, you black out. Literally, you black out, and you just madness takes over, and it's just
it's like
think of
Simon would do like 3 different celebrations. Like he had the charge run, then the knee slide, then the jump into the arms, and then pumping the fist. It was like he's just unloaded the clip on celebrations.
yeah.
It's got him stored up for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. And to me, honestly, like I don't know about y'all, but I don't think it's a no-brainer. But I think Simon Fitch with this game probably solidified himself for player of the season. Like,
I don't know if I'm there yet, but I think he's got an argument.
yeah, like to me, I think he might have just closed it out. It was impressive, man. Like, the thing that we talked about at the beginning of the year with him was, his crossing. He's got a lot. He's got it better at his crossing. Getting on target, getting those assists and everything like that. And I mean, if he can become a goal scoring right back, oh my God, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, it's one. Let's.
Well, I mean, this is the second week that Simon Fitch has been our hero. Last week with the goal line save, with that goal line clearance that that was almost physically impossible. Like he's literally running full pelt back towards his own goal and still manages to get his momentum to get the ball out, which is amazing. And then this week on the other end to get us that goal at the last minute to win it, to tie it, to save us at least a point in this situation and not lose us our position. That's 2 weeks in a row Simon Fitch has been the hero. So keep them coming. Keep them coming, Simon.
Simon Fitch is a kicker's legend, Mr. Homegrown himself.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go to YouTube and pull up the highlights from the October 2nd, 2022 game against Tormenta. Yeah, because I want you to go to about 3 minutes and 19 seconds into that highlight clip. The Kickers are down 1-0 at this point. 90 minutes, 43 seconds on the clock. Started Neil Vignals on the ball as a free kick in this scenario, but he's over on that sideline near the stands. Getting ready to swing across in. One of our defenders heads it in. This time it's Ani. A lot more covered. It's very, very similar outcomes because even in the first, they score.
Yeah.
Score in the first half, and they almost score again a couple minutes later, except we got called back for offside. If you look closely, we played almost this exact same game almost exactly 2 years ago, and still got the result. That time the result set us up to be able to win the league next week. This time it might set us up to make the playoffs next week.
Yep. And then think about the last Kenny Derby, that last minute goal, free kick from Neil from that same area, left wide, pinged into the box, goal in the last minute.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy. Like, it's funny because it's like we have problems on Chattanooga Road, but we're perfectly fine in Tormenta on the road.
Yeah.
It works out that way. So, we were able to get the 1-1, get the 2-2 draw. My phone, that 1-1. Get the 2-2 draw here. Was able to stay on top of Tormenta. Then it was pretty much sit and watch Saturday to see how these other results were going to go. And literally, once again, for a second consecutive weekend, every result that we needed went our way. You had Union Omaha at the death beat Lexington 2-1.
After going behind.
Huh?
After going behind.
I remember they didn't get a wild PK.
Yeah.
Like, Lexington threw this game away. They threw it away. Like, they were up 1-0. got a PK, and then go down a man and then give him a goal.
And a red card.
Right. And then Ford Madison, for those who haven't been in social media, you might have seen the fan incident where Ford Madison fans thought that they could fight the Chattanooga players, which is kind of funny to me.
I mean, shout out to them for trying to hook us up with baiting, the Chattanooga guys into getting into a fight. Appreciate the help, y'all. Try harder.
Yeah. Finish the deal. Finish the match. But they beat Chattanooga 2-1.
Yeah, on a stoppage time penalty for just the dumbest tackle you'll ever see.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
That was
such a bad tackle.
such a week. I'm like, not a PK. That's so not a PK.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was clearly a penalty. Completely unnecessary tackle.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
It was an unnecessary tackle, but I think it was a little on the weaker side.
Nah. Homeboy went in there with malintent to do nothing else. Like, it was bad. And then, well, none of the other results really matter. But, yeah, like, for a second consecutive week, all the results went our way again. Well, I mean, if you want to think that we could get 7th, because we still can if we win our last 2 games, and Spokane don't, then Wednesday, Fuego beat Spokane Velocity 1-0. And also, by the way, like, for all the stuff, I know we make jokes about Fuego, but if you haven't seen the report yet that was put out by the Athletic about the abuse that they've been going through, man, it's no wonder why like their season has been the way how it is. It has been like that. It sounds rough out there. So just wishing them and them all the best, man. But yeah. So we go into this week with.
You muted yourself there, bro.
My fault. I hit it by accident. It's almost like we're fighting all of our biggest battles at this point. Because now we got Chattanooga at home. And it's kind of like it's like we're getting revenge for 2022. Like I want that. I want revenge for 2022. Where
I do.
if we can knock them off, man, we're sitting. We can pretty much watch the rest of the night because it's not like any other teams below us got it easy. Lexington got Charlotte, and even though Charlotte's in a bad run of form, and Lexington's hot. Tormenta got Union Omaha. I don't think. Let me check real quick. Yeah,
Omaha can win that game to win the league.
But they haven't clinched the player shield yet.
Win
right?
that game.
Not yet.
So if they beat Tormenta, they clinched the player shield. So they're probably going to look to do that, get that out the way, and yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah. So I'm just saying, result goes our way on Saturday. I think there's every reason to believe that it can. Big old screen right there. Maybe kind of kickers. Let's have an impromptu Tormenta Omaha watch party.
Hey, I'm with it.
Just saying, because those combination results could clinch it next week.
Could do it. It could happen.
Oh goodness! If we can clinch it this Saturday with that.
I mean, just think about like how crazy that is. Like we're talking about a team that we were like, yo, like, all right, this is probably the true end of the cycle. Like we're gonna miss other players for the second year in a row. We see bright spots, but it's not good enough. And then come August, like this team, it's kind of like they flipped the switch, and now we're talking about them possibly getting the 7th seed. Like that's insane.
Still think the 7th seed is highly, highly unlikely. I'll take 8th for right now. Get in the playoffs, but yeah, a win and a Tormenta non-win this weekend clinches.
Oh man. Yeah.
Anything else will push it another week.
Yeah. And I mean, like, honestly, like, we got to overcome our boogeyman. Like Chattanooga has been that boogeyman for us, even so much as do like the USL Cup. Like, we got to overcome them to get where we want to get to. And I think that's beautiful. You know? How do you think Darren's going to line up for it, though? How do you think Darren's going to line up for this game against Chattanooga? Because, I mean, if you go back and look at the Madison game, like, they gave up possession to Foreign Madison and forced them to create chances. So is Darren going to lean into that and try to be, like, attacking from the onset? Or is he going to stick with what's been working and be like, all right, let's stick defense first. And then if we're forced to go attacking, we know we can pull that spade when it's there. But let's, try to keep the defense to what it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a question of, does he blink, right? Does he keep the same guys, or okay, didn't go quite as great this time around. Maybe Emmy's kind of struck his max and he's starting to get a flame going. Start him up top. Like, I don't know what the right choice is. I'm glad I'm not in Darren's position right now to try to have to make that decision. But I think you can reasonably probably guess 8 or 9 out of the 11. I think it's just a matter of, do you rip off the Neil Emmy Band-Aid now, or do you kind of go the way it's been going for the last month and a half of keep him on the bench and roll him out to try to take it late?
Oh man, where do you fall?
I mean,
where do y'all fall on this?
I think in my opinion, I think if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
But the thing is,
like we said, apart from the 2 corner kicks, it was a very even game with South Georgia Tormenta, and I do not see any other team playing the way South Georgia did in terms of like going balls to the wall defense, high press, get in your face, make every single player that gets the ball at their feet panic type of gung-ho first half, because you could see that it completely gassed them for the second half, and that's why we were able to get back in the game. I don't see any other team, and I definitely don't see Chattanooga doing that. And so I'd say stick with the same squad. They've held up good. They've done a good job. You have Emmy, you have Neil, who can come off the bench and create something. You have Josh Kirkland, who can come off the bench and run at the other team and play chicken with their defenders, basically. We have those in our pockets to work with, but I'd say leave it the way it is.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate, that team was down 2-0 at halftime to garbage ass Tormenta.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, but I want to think is this the reason why Tormenta have been doing so bad? Because they come out and they wear themselves out in the first half, thinking we're just going to go at it, and it just so happened in this game they're able to get 2 good corner kicks in the first half. That went their way and were able to get to their, at least the first. I mean, to be honest with you, the first one is like they just found the big man. And the second one, unlucky, someone lost their man and someone was wide open. But yeah, the way they played us in the first half could be the reason why they're doing so poorly. So, and we've always been a second half team anyway. So.
I got hella patience, but
yeah. Oh man. I'm gonna be nervous. I can't even hide it. But
I can't. I will too.
But it feels good to be it feels good to be in a position where you can be nervous about a game. Because I think like all our biggest fear was like we would come out the break, back in August, and these last couple of games would just be dead rubbers. And they actually mean something now, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
2 months ago, that's all we were asking. Like,
We're
make
so long
make these
to a
mean
certain
something.
extent.
Yeah, like make them mean something. They have. And I think, like, you know, when we do our postseason wrap up, wherever that final game is played, hopefully is played after the championship game and we host the league championship. You know, we can go back and look at this season and see, like, is this the start of something? You know, is this a build of what Darren's been preaching and, you know, justifiably so. Like he's been getting dragged through the mud about this team's performance from us, from fans, from everyone. And to pull it around now, you know, is this the start of something much bigger? And can they keep the momentum going in the future? And on the flip side of that, like when you look at the goalkeeper competition, do you stick with me personally? I'm cool sticking with James Stead. Like stick with the young guy in goal. Like he's proven it so far. Yeah, he hasn't really shown that he's not up to it. You know, it's not like the 2 goals that were given him on Saturday were his fault. You know, yeah, he could have done something better here and there, but you know, I'm cool keeping him in goal. I'm pretty. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I'd say stick with him. He's been between the sticks for the past, 3, 4 games? Stick with
Yeah.
him. You start trying to change things up with 2 games left to go in the season. That's when things can get real sticky really quickly. I'd rather not. I'd really rather not.
You know what's gonna be so funny is that an 18-year-old, we're gonna have 2 18-year-olds who probably just got their driver's licenses and can buy themselves a drink are going to lead us to the playoffs.
Hey,
That is hilarious. Well, yeah. Anything else from you guys before we wrap up today's show?
Biggest game of the year coming up on Saturday. Bring your friends, bring everybody you can to the game. You know, Schneer's flying down for it because he knows it's a big game, and we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah. I won't be back in stadium till next weekend. So I'll be in DC watching this on my phone while I'm at another soccer game.
You're going to that game?
Yeah, so in fairness, I bought these tickets back in July.
Of course.
I mean,
this way you get to watch Charlotte this week, and you get to watch Charlotte next week. We see what's up.
Yeah, so you know,
we have a loyalty life.
yeah, and it's very hard to tell my wife, "Hey, I know we've been talking about going to DC to go see Charlotte play. Scrap that. We're gonna stay in Richmond and watch the Kickers play Chattanooga now."
She had a driver's license, don't she? She can take the Amtrak.
No. So yeah.
let her one of her friends have girls' day up in DC. They find their way up, up there, do their thing. You get to watch the important game. Win-win.
Yeah, I am. Man, I'm gonna be pulling double duty at this. I'm gonna be sitting there like, because I think both games kick off at the same time. So I'm literally gonna be like, probably more so on my phone than actually on the paying attention to what's on the field.
Wow.
But hopefully my good luck streak can keep going and we can win games in my absence.
No, you don't get to claim that now that you just said earlier that you turned it back on to see the tying goal. None of your backwards logic gets to check out both ways.
Yes, it does. It's backwards, so it works whenever I want it to. There we go. It doesn't have to have logic.
Work when you want it.
Yeah, exactly. It just has to work. It's worked. I also have another theory that says I haven't been doing the pregame, post-match interviews, like that's the reason why we're winning as well, because the team is focused on winning. So they've been doing those.
Sure.
So yeah, I'll take any of that. My bad. Janae, anything else from you, man, before we wrap up?
Not much. I know I won't be able to make it, but if you're in Richmond, go. Let's pack out that stadium. Let's make Chattanooga as uncomfortable as possible at City Stadium.
Yeah, man. Make them as comfortable and let's pull it out, man. Let's pull it out. Because if we clinch, oh my God. Oh my God. It is going
if we
to
clinch,
be
I'm going crazy. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah, for real. It's gonna be insane. I know Tennessee is gonna be a party there regardless, man. So everyone that goes there, man, have fun. Be safe. My thoughts and prayers go out to those in Tampa Bay and in the North Carolina area and all that, man. And for us here, without y'all, we couldn't do the show. So we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day for listening to our show. For Matt Chenier and myself, Kate is on. I think Kate's still in Madrid, right?
How would I know this?
I think so. Maybe so.
I think
She got
so.
money.
Yeah, I think she said she's gonna be back for the.
Yeah, she got money. So with that being said, y'all, we will holler at y'all next week. Where we will be talking about the Richmond Kickers clinching a playoff spot and maybe able to wrestle people against Charlotte before the playoffs. This is all weird. With all that being said, though, as always, take the time of the day to follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, and River City 93. We will holler at you guys next week. Be easy and be safe.